Welcome to the C.S. Joseph podcast. I'm your host, C.S. Joseph. This is my friend, Michael, that I just met 7 minutes ago. Pretty quick. Definitely just randomly decided to be on the show, and today's episode we're going to be doing typing random people. And random people like Mike here, who's a fantastic fellow. And so tell us about yourself. We can hear you. Yeah.
No, I'm born in this town, raised in this town. I work in North Dakota, oil rigs.
Wow.
Work hard. Have a young son, going through custody stuff.
Dang.
Yeah, I've been in foster care as a kid. I was adopted.
Really?
So, yeah, I've had a lot of different jobs. Went to Boise State and got my degree, worked in the hospital. I've had to pull people off life support and things like that. So, had some good experiences. Yeah.
Wow. So are you ever going to go back to being a respiratory therapist, that kind of a thing?
Right, yeah. I'll always keep that as a part of my job security. It's a job where if you keep your certification, you work 12-hour shifts and you can work part-time. And so once I'm done with the oil field, I'll come back and do that.
Yeah. So what's your opinion of Myers-Briggs type indicator and the 16 personality types?
Well, so I would see them kind of along the lines of like astrology. I think that however accurate or inaccurate they are, whether it be astrology or Myers-Briggs or any of the kind of personality type markers, in my opinion, humans will take a correlating guide. And so they will associate themselves with what is told to them, take the good out of it and say, oh, I'm kind of like that, and it'll give them hope. So I think that in that way, anything that gives them hope and gives them a good feeling about themselves, a little bit of critical thought is enough for them to accept and for them to enjoy and admire. And that's maybe why those things have persisted, because they give just enough, even though they're mostly bullshit.
Like the Zodiac.
Yeah, exactly.
I totally understand that. Oftentimes in the pickup artist community, they call the Zodiac chick crack. And I guess Myers-Briggs type indicator is somewhat similar to that end. It's just chick crack. But yeah, I mean. Right. The way I do it is just like it's more of a Jungian analytical psychology approach. It comes back from like Carl Jung and just trying to understand his purpose and the science that I talk about. It's called Four Sides Dynamics. It comes from his book Ion, which is the scariest book Jordan Peterson ever read. Apparently, but I usually just use the first 5 chapters, for the basis of the 4 sides of the mind. So basically, the whole premise is that psychologically, you actually have like 4 people in your head at once. You have your ego, your subconscious, your unconscious, and your superego. Those 4 pieces, and it's like having 4 different people, 4 different voices at the table in your head, basically at all times. It's kind of cool, So, and most people say, oh yeah, Myers-Briggs, we're just putting people in a box. That's all it is. Just put them in a box and just shove them away. But for me, I like to go real deep. Real deep. So based on that, tell me, what kind of art do you make? You ever do any art?
Art?
Yeah,
3D mostly, yeah.
3D stuff? 3D modeling?
Yeah.
Like animating?
No, not on a computer, apart from music, a little bit of music, but I'm getting into that. For instance, at North Idaho College here, I made a 12-foot tall cardboard Bic lighter that was complete and everything, but out of the top, instead of a flame, it was a fountain of water.
Wow.
So it was opposite of its purpose.
And
that was my final project for Michael Horswell, who was down here at Art Spirit.
No kidding.
Yeah. So
is your piece still in there? I can go look at it, because that would be fascinating.
No. In fact, it didn't survive very long at all. It got taken down, and I don't know where it went. I didn't even hardly be able to see it. I don't know if people liked it or not, but it was huge. So, but unfortunately, Michael Horswell didn't stay long at Art Spirit because the owner of Art Spirit passed from ALS.
Oh.
And very quickly.
That sucks.
Yeah, my best friend's mom was his girlfriend at the time, and she now lives in his house. I have a couple of his pairs of pants and his flannels. And I got to tell him before he died. I got to tell him that I appreciated his efforts towards the local art community. But
Fair enough.
Yeah, that's about my artistry.
Yeah. Yeah. So did you ever take an MBTI test? I mean, if you did, what was your result?
I wish I remembered better. I think I'm in like an INTFJ or FB.
Maybe INTJ. Does that sounds familiar?
Yeah, that might be up it. I don't know. I wish I was more familiar with it. I really, to be honest, I didn't give a shit.
I don't blame you.
You know?
People don't give a shit until they listen to my podcast or watch my channel. Then they start giving a shit. But after that, anyone else out there you talk to, they don't know what they're talking about. You go to personalitydatabase.com, idiots. You can. There's just so many different places that you could go online. I mean, apparently there's this guy on YouTube called Eric Thor. People think he's a genius for some reason. I have no idea. Or this other dude named Frank James. He's an INFP who claims to be an INFJ and likes to lead everyone astray, but he's really good at skits, and that's why he's super popular. Yeah, but yeah,
skits.
But it's cool that you make art. How much shit do you get in your life for being free, being pragmatic, being super independent, and just not following the herd? How much crap do you get for not following the herd?
I was homeless for a year before about 3 months ago, because my son's mom took my son from me, and
yeah, I've been homeless too. Put it seriously.
Yeah,
yeah. In the Seattle area.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's intense.
Yeah. Well, it is intense, especially when you're doing it and then all of a sudden, you have an infant in the process. I was a horrible human being in my 20s, trust me. Like, I was grossly negligent and irresponsible. I share a lot of my story, on the podcast and on the channel, but yeah, it's entirely ridiculous, the kind of person that I was in my 20s. And the reason why is because my philosophy in my 20s was, hey, so long as it's not my fault, it's not my responsibility. You know what I mean? And then I realized much later in my late 20s that no, that's false. Just because it's not my fault does not mean it's not my responsibility. And then I had to just kind of like grow from that. It was a really, really interesting situation as a result. So yeah, you're pretty creative, you're pretty independent. That's pretty awesome. So so if I was to actually break you down psychologically, and just kind of show you how your brain is working, that'd be pretty cool. I mean, you took that test, you don't give a shit. So hopefully, maybe by the end of this, you will give a shit. But not with the traditional MBTI. You just go online and look it up. No. They don't know what they're talking about either. It's just. But the reality of the situation is, this is such a fringe science that people can't even believe that it's even remotely a thing, And I'm not going to try to convince you. I'm just going to say it as it is, and just let you have your own opinion, So, because your opinion is what really matters. So anyway, from your point of view, you're known as the artist, also known as the druid, basically. Behind the scenes, you're very informative. You like informing and giving people information and receiving information, giving input's really important to you. Very responding. You like it when people come to you for information instead of you going to other people and having to get it. It makes you feel important when people come to you, because then it's like, hey, they want to get your opinion, and that's what really matters. And then you're all about the outcome. You're not going to do something unless you're guaranteed to get the outcome that you want, which is not a bad thing. Versus, me, I'm progression. I don't care if there's an outcome. I'm just going to go and just see what happens, But whereas, outcome is kind of more like getting a guarantee. You know exactly how you feel all the time, what you value, what your principles are. And sometimes that means you like to go out there and find information that fits your principles, so it strengthens your principles that you have. You live in the moment consistently. All about giving people a good experience, making them comfortable, but to a point where you want to be memorable. You want to be memorable because you're all about legacy. You want to leave behind a legacy where you are remembered, because that's really, really important to you, such that you draw your own personal sense of purpose as a result of leaving that legacy behind. It's as if that legacy is your purpose. That's why your 2-year-old son is as important to you as he is, because he is a physical representation in the concrete realm as to what your specific legacy actually is. You're all about your personal freedom of choice, to the point that if your freedom of choice is taken away, you get ragey and upset. But you have to always have a choice. If I was to raise you as a child, I'd be like, okay, Mike, do you want to go to bed now, or do you want to go to bed in 5 minutes? I got to give you a choice, instead of just saying, get your ass in bed, because that's not going to go over well, because then at least you got the choice, because the choice is what matters. The most sensitive part of you, however, is what people think about you. You care about your status, you care about your reputation. When you walk in a room, you know what people are thinking, and you adjust yourself so that you're not going to sour their judgments toward you. Other people's judgments in that regard, in terms of what they think, not how they feel, but what they think, is really important, because you really want respect. You want to be respected and regarded by others on a consistent basis. That allows you to maintain your level of self-importance. Now, where your worry exists is that you worry that sometimes you might be a little too selfish and you're not caring enough. And sometimes you end up overcompensating every now and then in terms of being generous with others. So maybe sometimes a little too generous, because you're just trying to prove to yourself that you are actually a caring person, even though usually it's like, yeah, I'm kind of selfish. Yeah, I kind of do my own thing. But at the end of the day, you really do need to have something to show for it at the end of the day, or maybe end of the week or sometime, that you are actually a caring person, so you're not so worried about whether or not you're being supportive enough to other people. Now, in terms of where you're very critical, however, you're very critical towards yourself in terms of your own experience, like your level of comfort, what you need. Sometimes you will ignore your needs in favor of others, or sometimes you'll push yourself way harder than everybody else, maybe even to the point of expecting other people to push as hard as you. Sure. Because of that, and that could be a huge issue. However, the thing you're unaware of the most, consequences. You are aware of reactions in the moment and how things immediately react, but long-term consequences, nope. And it completely escapes your head. You're just like, oh my God, how did this happen? I didn't see that coming. Oh my God. And that can end up, that probably has bit you in the ass many times in your life, where you just made a decision and all of a sudden, boom, consequence, and you're like, dang, I wish someone would have warned me about that. That would have been nice. And then the last piece of your mind is basically what you think. And what you think in terms of the truth. And the thing about life is that you know the truth, and the truth is dark, gothic, evil, painful, indiscriminate. So you want to make the world a better place. That's why you're creative. You want to create this legacy that pushes people towards a better belief, a better truth, basically, or to create a new truth that people can adopt and maybe have a better life because of it, because you see the truth of reality around you and you're like, this sucks. Why do people like this? I don't like this. This is bullshit. So I'm going to make this thing over here, and then it'll make reality better, and then maybe people will actually think that's great. Maybe they'll actually want that. Maybe they'll stick around, and then maybe I'll be remembered for this contribution to humanity as a result, and then I could move it even further. And that's just kind of how you are. And it's because here's the thing, when you tell the truth, it cuts hard, the absolute hardest. It cuts real hard. So that's why you try not to do that. You just kind of lead with how you feel and try to put out a better energy, a better vibe out there for people, instead of just telling them the straight up truth, because that shit hurts. It hurts everybody. It just cuts them deep, So, it's like, yeah, are you sure you want to know the truth? I can tell you the truth, man. I can really tell you. Are you sure you want that? So how am I doing so far?
Oh, pretty good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, those are all relatable aspects.
Yeah, that's so that's known as the ISFP archetype. Although we don't do the MBTI thing, it's just Jungian analytical psychology under 4 sides dynamics. So your ego is an ISFP, and your unconscious is an ESFJ, which is very supportive. So you're a very supportive person. It's all about discovery. Wants to discover things. Now your subconscious, the part of you that makes you like the happiest when you aspire, it's a chief. It's the marshal. It's the CEO. It's the one that's in charge of the band, or it's in charge of the business, or it's in charge of the Airbnb empire. You know, it's in charge of the team. It's the foreman. You know, it's taking charge. It's making sure everyone is being efficient, following the system, following the procedure, and you direct them exactly where you want to go, because you know that where you want to go is definitely going to get the best outcome for the entire thing. And which is, you know, potentially making more widgets or making more money, that kind of a thing. And then your super ego is like this engineer type thing. It's like a very evil Bill Gates, you know, very evil Bill Gates.
Hard to imagine.
Where it's like, hey, well, the thing is that if someone like if someone just completely publicly shames you for no reason, absolutely destroys your reputation and your status, then you're like, all right, I'm going to completely engineer a way. I'm going to create this trapdoor to have you fall in and die. Bye. You know, that kind of thing. You're going to engineer a solution that ends up leading to them having some extreme harm as retribution for them destroying your reputation that you worked really hard to build in front of others, and just how you are. And that's your super ego. You know, that's what that represents. You know, so
it's not wrong.
Yeah. But yeah, man, like all these people we see out here, like everyone has these little quirks that you could just, you know,
right.
As soon as you just meet them, you just kind of know, you know, you can figure it out. Honestly, I had you pegged within 10 seconds. But I've been doing this for 15 years, so what do you expect, right? You know.
Yeah. Well,
It just comes with a lot of experience. But here's the thing, though: people like you are so necessary. We have to have people like you. My type is known as the rogue, and I hate reality. I hate reality all the time, because people like you exist. There's like art in the world, and then all of a sudden I start to appreciate the world because there's art in it. Something beautiful. People like you make the world beautiful. Without people like you, honestly, like there are days where there's not really much for me to be willing to live for, except for the fact that, you know, I know there's art and there's beauty in the world, and there's people like you that are going out of your way to make it better. That's everything to me. Absolutely everything. So when I see you folks, I just like, oh my God, it's an ISFP, it's an artist. Thank God they exist. Thank God they exist, because, you know, you guys are so free. You know, it's like I don't know if you watch Netflix. There's a show called Outer Banks on it. The main character's name is John B, and he's an ISFP just like you, living out of his Volkswagen bus. You know, like he calls it the Twinkie. He got a boat on the out in the ocean and whatnot on the coast, and just living the free life, man. Just doing it like that, and it's just so awesome, because it's like you look at reality and you're like, wow, this sucks. So I'm going to shirk reality, and I'm going to give the universe the finger and be like, I'm going to live my life the way I want to, and not participate in the rest of the bullshit like everybody else. And I'm like, yeah, thank God someone like you exists who has the balls to do that. You know what I'm saying? It's so important. So I end up thinking So I think the world of you folks, like seriously, I really think the world of you folks. You guys really are an example of freedom. You guys are an example of creativity. And in my opinion, you folks are the most memorable people out there. As you guys seek your purpose and build that purpose and build your legacy, you give us so much. I mean, without that, like, the world would just be ugly, and it would just decay. It would just be like entirely left over, you know. So yeah, it's just kind of ridiculous. So please keep creating, you know. Maybe you're down on your luck, or maybe you got bullshit going on, but I mean, you have your inner child is called introverted intuition child. It means everything that you want, and it also means that you're kind of the luckiest out of everybody out there. Why? Because, you know, introvert intuition child, your inner child, is like standing in front of a minefield, and for some reason, you always make it to the other side. All the danger in the world, but you always make it through. You just have this like extra luck about you that you just get through it. It's pretty cool.
Oh, yeah. Well,
Sometimes you may have some bad consequences to deal with along the way, but you always make it through.
certainly. Certainly bad. Yeah. No, you got me pegged on quite a few things, that's for sure. But, you know, at the end of the day, go out and drill oil and make some money, and that's what matters.
Yeah, well, what's next for you after drilling oil?
Well, that's about it. I'm going to keep drilling oil, making $100,000 a year, and get my shit under me and get a jet ski, you know?
Oh, yeah. Like, oh, dude, I got me in one of them paddle boards, but get me a Sea-Doo. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah, I got paddle boards. Paddle boards are great.
I got me one of those two-person ones. That's one of those inflatables to take right out on the lake. Sometimes I film my podcast out there like a crazy man, you know?
Nice.
And just make it work. But I love it. That's one of the reasons I live here, just lake country, and just hang out on the lakes, do whatever, go camping. You know, in my opinion, this is like the crown jewel of the United States, personally.
Oh, amazing. I hope to move the fuck away from here soon.
Fair enough.
Because I actually kind of, it's a wonderful place, but it's horrible in very many ways. A lot of fake people in this place, a lot of bullshit. I haven't gone to school. Did you go to high school here?
No, I went to high school in a place called Stanwood, Washington, north of Seattle.
Oh, okay.
Then I ended up in California for a while. Then I ended up in southern Idaho, and then
Boise?
now I'm here. No, in Twin Falls.
Twin Falls,
Yeah. Yeah, I was there for a while. It was great. But then I watched a few people jump off the edge of the cliff on the canyon. That was a little rough. And then I also saw a base jumper die. And I'm like, there's way too much death here. I'm going to go elsewhere.
Wow.
Yeah. It was not a really good experience. I'm glad I'm no longer there. That being said, though, at the Koto Brewery down there, it's the best IPA I've had in my life. Just ordered the table base. Oof. Wow. It's so good. Yeah, it's absolutely incredible. But yeah, man, thanks for being on the show.
Yeah,
seriously.
thank you for having me.
Yeah, that was great. Yeah. So anyway, folks, thanks for watching and listening. We'll see you guys in the next episode.